Hey guys, I'll try to keep the intro short. I've been mostly covering dark and obscure internet mysteries throughout the last year. In that time period, I stumbled upon topics which were fascinating, but they did not have enough content to make an entire video about them. It felt really bad to ignore these topics for months and never cover them. A few days ago, I asked you guys about a video format which basically will be compilations about distressing things from the internet similar to Nexpo's format. The absolute majority of people voting were in favor of this idea. The format name is up to change, but I thought it's the most fitting one. I'm trying to more or less cover everything interesting that I stumbled upon in the first few episodes, so there will be topics which are less disturbing. Also, you know how YouTube works, so if you like the video, I'd really appreciate a sub and a like. It takes you only a few seconds, but it really helps me a ton to grow the channel. If you dislike the content in the future, you can always unsub later. Let's dive into 6 unnerving things from the internet. The user, lack of a better name, shared a post in the High Strangeness subreddit with the title, "This was found in the Rio Grande River, which cuts between Texas and Mexico." I've tried to find an article about this, but came up with a whole lot of nothing. Look at the hands. People say you can see a face in the flames. Attached were 5 different images. The first one depicting the Rio Grande River of what looks like a wrapped up body swimming on the surface. The second image depicts a body outside of the river. Third image shows us what's inside. It looks like a human-sized doll. It seems mostly destroyed and has a very eerie look. The fourth image is a close-up. In the last one, we see the doll being burned. But why? People in the replies were throwing in their thoughts and theories. One of such comes from the user Koba. I apologize for my pronunciation beforehand. It reads, "This is Santeria and or Brugismo at work most likely. Or some Catholic possession figure mixed up with any of the former." Brugismo seems to be an inaccurate term here. What is meant is brujeria. Brujeria means witchcraft. So this doll could have been used for witchcraft purposes. Maybe as a voodoo doll. The size of this doll seems very irritating. Normally, you would expect a voodoo doll to be smaller. The size should be around 2 inches. The topic regarding voodoo dolls itself seems to lack information, so I couldn't find a whole lot through research. As for Santeria, it is also known as the religion Regla de Ocha, which developed in Cuba in the 16th century. The religion seems to be viewed as a type for witchcraft and is associated with criminal activities. So basically, the procedure to deal with the possessed entity, in this case this doll, is to sink it deep into water. I guess that's why it was in the river in the first place. However, since this entire topic lacks information, other people thought fishing the doll out and burning it would be the better solution. I did some further research and found a Facebook page sharing even more pictures. It shows pictures of the aftermath of the fire. The doll did not burn up. I want to give a fair warning in the following. Viewer discretion is advised. Normally, I wouldn't cover this in a video since it's not really a mystery and highly sensitive. The build up until the final decision, however, is highly distressing and fits this format. I think he wants his story to be heard, otherwise he wouldn't have shared it. The user Condor Salesman could be a familiar name to some of you guys. His last post was cross-posted in multiple subs and received some attention. To get a bigger picture, let's start by examining his post history. His first ever post is about mortality. In the replies, he shares, "I'm just struggling to understand the meaning behind enjoying life if it's just going to at some point end. Either abruptly with no warning young, or slowly and humiliatingly with old age." The next few posts continue in this fashion. Whether it be that he is wasting time on meaningless things, or that he is in a mental state which he cannot get out of. He also decides to share a lot of personal information which helps us to comprehend his situation. He details that he is either too old to do certain things, or that he has no close friends left. I wish for a loving relationship, but I truly dislike myself as a person, and separately from that, I dislike how I look. I have considerable facial asymmetries. I've tried Tinder and every other app or dating site as per suggestions, but it's like, I don't get what I'm supposed to do on them even when I get matches. I can't flirt or drive a conversation with a stranger for shit. It feels like all other guys learned how to do this in some lecture I wasn't invited to, cause it's also easy for everyone I've talked to, but I just cannot get an understanding. In the last paragraph, he describes how he seems to lack social skills in order to engage with people. You can see here, here, and here that he is definitely unstable. He frequently describes his outer appearance, how he is malformed since birth and his siblings not having to face the same fate. My master's thesis was approved 2 days ago. I was hoping I would feel happy or accomplished, or at least relieved of the stress. But I felt nothing. I used to get more excited having coursework passed than this. It all feels so meaningless now. What was the point if I don't feel happy about it? Now I need to find work, and then it's time for working life. It just doesn't feel like a win. He again talks about this topic in a later post, where he writes, "I found absolutely nothing. My savings are gone. I have no money anymore. I devoted myself to engineering and got no payoff. I regret this decision. I'm just a worthless sad pile of trash with a nice piece of paper. I want to end myself and hope that I get to start over. Everyone else from high school who just went and found normal jobs are happy." He pretty much put his entire happiness on one card, and it didn't turn out like he wanted. I think everybody is able to understand how crushing that must be. Putting your everything into one thing and eventually reaching it to just realize that it's meaningless. In his case, this was the trigger. Here he shares that he is willing to give up since he cannot even get a job, even though he finished his master's degree. In one of his last posts, he once more summarizes everything that went wrong in his life. "I am 25 years old. I have a degree. I have been actively searching for a job for half a year now, getting absolutely nowhere. I am a virgin despite efforts to not be one. I am poor. I live in the cheapest student dormitory in the city. All my flatmates are filthy, and I don't feel comfortable in my own home. I may get kicked out any day at short notice once they discover I'm not a student anymore. I have no friends. My family has excommunicated me. I am born with a malformed face. This isn't exaggeration or drama. My medical records describe me as malformed. I'm objectively hideous and will never be looked at with affection. I'm a loser. I lose. I lose at life. I don't have the will to eat anymore. I don't deserve it." After this, he started a countdown. He gave himself 46 days. He posted every day ever since. His last post was shared on True of My Chest. I've set up an AutoHotkey script to hit post on this message in 1 hour. I'm posting my last words here instead on another subreddit since they have shadow banned me, which is hilarious. He goes extremely in-depth about everything that led to this decision. I will not read out the entire post. If you are curious, just go over there and read it yourself. It contains information that he did not previously talk about. My name was David. Today I turned 25 years old. I was born in a small town where I grew up and had no friends. I moved to a big city to study engineering. I graduated. I could not find a job. I never had a girlfriend. My family has forgotten me. I achieved nothing. I will not be remembered. This was my story. It has now ended. So in this section I'm very confused myself and I have absolutely zero idea what this could mean. I will mostly just present the topic and let you decide what you make of it. Maybe it means nothing. On the YouTube channel Max Cherkov there are a bunch of uploads. The first one depicts two babies which are monitored by a CCTV camera for whatever reason. That's the entire video. The second one is also of very random nature. It shows the street and cars passing by. Again, captured by a CCTV camera. The next three videos depict robbers entering, stealing and leaving the house. Everything captured by the CCTV camera. I will speed up certain segments of these videos because they are quite long. The next two uploads are just some random child cartoons or whatever. To this date, I'm unsure what all of this means. It was most likely just randomly uploaded, but why were the uploads in this order? Is there more to it? Liveleak has been notorious for gruesome videos in the past. The following thing you'll see is not the worst of the worst and is rather safe for work. This will change in future episodes. I will try to translate the following while you watch the clip, but do not take the subtitles at face value since I do not speak the language.
Все нормально?
Болит все. Пожалуйста, скорую.
Не трогай, лежи, не двигайся. Жить будет целое все. Как ты себя чувствуешь?
Болит.
Болит? Ты главное сейчас не нервничай, дыши. Ничего не снимай, оставь. Оставь шлем. Не дергайся. Так как лежишь,
Я
так...
воблинг словила. Затрясло мотоцикл.
Мы видели. Ты лежи, не двигайся. Лежи, не двигайся просто и все. Шлем снимать сейчас нельзя, поняла? Все, так и лежи.
Лежи, просто
Лежи, не двигайся.
Все хорошо.
So what happened to her? It's obvious that she lost control, leading to the accident. However, this one was actually resolved quickly. Here's the follow-up clip of the biker. She just seems to be injured, but otherwise okay. The next two topics are rather mysterious than truly disturbing. On the 24th of August, there has been a phenomenon that has been widely covered on different platforms. Here, the user writes, "What is the meaning of 35.black? You can't seem to type 35.black without space on Facebook nor Google." He elaborates, "If you try to post 35.black on Facebook or Instagram, you'll receive a pop-up message that says, 'You can't post this. This URL goes against our community standards on spam.'" There is no official explanation as to why this term can't be commented. In the message, it refers to this comment as a link. Thus, some people have guessed that 35.black is a forbidden website. Maybe there was a website with the URL 35.black that might have been promoting malicious activities or adult content, or maybe voiding Facebook policies in some ways or other, and hence the URL was blacklisted by Facebook and its servers. Obviously, speculations about this are very interesting. There is a post on the subreddit Internet Mysteries where the OP speculates about the URL being very shady and that the FBI was involved in order to delete the website. Such websites are actually way more common than you might think. Normally, the general assumption is that you find the hardcore stuff on the darknet, but there are a bunch of clearnet websites accessible through Google which contain the worst things that you could ever look up. I already talked about this in my Hangstank episode 1 video. However, looking up the URL 35.black will leave us without any satisfying results. It will only mention that the IP address was not found. Using Wayback is also no solution since there are no archives of such website. However, this phenomenon occurred roughly 4 months ago. Ever since, this seems to have been fixed. I tried to write 35.black with and without space in between, and it works on Instagram and Facebook. But why was it even banned in the first place, and how come that it got resolved now? The Magic of OZ is a fairly unknown short cartoon which only lasts around 5 minutes. It focuses on Dorothy, the Scarecrow, and Tin Man meeting the Cowardly Lion. The cartoon is poor in its quality and includes crude animations. It also lacks an actual plot and has been labeled as the worst cartoon ever in a YouTube video. The first ever known mention of the short cartoon was in 2010. Jerry Beck featured the cartoon in a lineup of worst cartoons ever at the San Diego Comic-Con. He himself thinks that this cartoon is from the 1960s. Overall, the cartoon is very odd and it cannot be linked to any studio, even though names of the people that worked on it are provided in the opening credits. I googled all of the names, but I really couldn't find much, except maybe the music producer for the cartoon. There isn't a whole lot about Paul Jongsa though. What was the purpose of this cartoon and who are the people that worked on it? I have way more topics saved up and the next episode will be more disturbing. If you have recommendations for topics that I should cover, you can always contact me on Instagram or Twitter. You should also follow me there, by the way. I'm really active on both platforms. If you like the content, I'd really appreciate a sub and a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.